We are gathered here today to celebrate the life and career of a beloved Flash games icon. A figure created by Flipline Studios many years ago. One that wears a big hat and a red bandana. He was there during many of our childhoods, entertaining us during school hours. But, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. Now, will you please join me in remembrance of Cactus Mccoy. In the early 2000s, Tony Solari was attending the Cleveland Institute of Art for game design. It was there that he would befriend a fellow student attending for digital arts and animation named Matt Neff. Together, they ended up working on various different projects for their classes at the time, and would realize that they could actually work quite well as a two-man game design team. The duo resolved to create a company together after they graduated, and continued working with each other. Sure enough, in 2004, they formed Flipline Interactive Design Studios, and set up an official website. Things were slow at first, and the pair's work would mainly consist of website design and graphic design for clients. There was also an attempt to create and pitch a Flash animated cartoon series called Freezing Point, which centered around two penguins and the antics they'd get up to with each other. In 2006, they would decide to shift their focus to the creation of in-browser Flash games and rename the company to Flipline Studios. That same year, they released their first project, Papa Louie When Pizzas Attack. The titular Papa Louie got his start not in a series of restaurant endeavors, but rather in a platforming adventure. He had been hosting a party at his restaurant when it was invaded by an evil onion ring. He had been hosting a party at his restaurant when it was invaded by an evil onion ring, who transformed all of his pizzas into monsters and sucked. They transformed all of his pizzas into monsters and sucked all the visitors of the pizza shop into pizza dimensions, from which Papa Louie would have to rescue them. It was well made for the time, but didn't gain a particularly large following. No, that came the next year, in 2007. When Flipline Studios would introduce their Hallmark series. Papa's Pizzeria was a smash hit. It was a simple pizza creation game in which you, playing as a delivery boy named Roy, were left to run the pizzeria after Papa Louie had gone on an adventure. You tend to customers and top, cook, and slice pizzas to their liking. The therapeutically satisfying title would go on to spawn countless sequels, all following the same ebb and flow of story and restaurant management, not to mention 2 more Papa Louie platformers. But enough about that. We're here to talk about the deceased, not his predecessors. In 2011, video game publisher / Flash website Not Doppler published a new series by Flipline Studios. The polished platformer followed the game's namesake, Cactus Mccoy, as he was hired by the infamous gang leader Hex Hatfield to retrieve a mysterious treasure known as the Thorned Emerald. It didn't take McCoy long to track the treasure down in a small cavern with a cactus shrine and retrieve it. However, one night when he was sleeping, the Thorned Emerald would inflict its curse upon him, turning him into a living cactus. A cursed spirit appeared before him and told him that the emerald needed to be brought to its original resting place far away, or McCoy would face the full consequences of the curse. Meanwhile, word had reached Hex Hatfield of the curse placed upon McCoy, and the fact that he wasn't heading towards the gang hideout. Hex surmised that McCoy had betrayed him, and deployed the full forces of his underlings to retrieve the Thorned Emerald. The gameplay that took you through the adventure of returning the emerald was actually a formidable game compared to most short Flash games of the time. It played like a mix of Castlevania and Double Dragon, having the player platform through a variety of levels, while beating up enemies with Cactus Mccoy's thorny fists. The combo system, in which you would juggle enemigos, was genuinely fun, and you got better at it as you went through the game. There was a variety of types of enemigos to defeat, and they would drop a whole slew of unique weapons. There was the standard cowboy stuff, like revolvers, lassos, knives, and such, but that didn't stop the game from being more creative. Pool cues, katanas, cherry bombs, playing cards, Tommy guns, even a Gatling gun. And they all played uniquely as well, with there being 5 types of weapons, and each weapon within those types playing slightly different from one another. Along with there being a slew of unique levels to play through, each level also had 5 added challenges and a variety of collectibles. Each level also had a bit of a gang rush before you progressed onto the treasure. The end of the game even had a Castlevania-esque boss battle, based on knowing the attack patterns of Hex Hatfield. In the end, Cactus Mccoy was able to defeat Hex and return the Thorn Emerald to its rightful spot. But this wasn't the end of our hero's journey. Not but a few months later, Cactus Mccoy 2, The Ruins of Calavera, was released. This time McCoy was treasure hunting when he met a mysterious hooded figure. After being saved by said hooded figure, she revealed herself to McCoy to be Ella Windstorm, the last of the Velados, a race of ancient winged people. She showed McCoy a map that would lead to a chamber containing the Serpent Blade, a powerful artifact sealed away when the ancient city of the Velados fell. Before the two could set off, Milana Meyer and her goons swooped in and kidnapped Ella so that they could take the Serpent Blade for themselves. Cactus Mccoy then set out with the map in hand so that he could rescue Ella and prevent Milana Meyer from getting her hands on a powerful weapon. The game was more or less the same as the first. However, if the first game was Castlevania, the second was Donkey Kong Country. The levels now had multiple routes you could take to the ending, including ziplines, rocket barrels, and a mine lift. The endings of the levels were now altered as well, now including styled gang rushes, and even sometimes actual boss fights with some of Milana Meyer's cronies. The final boss felt like something out of Castlevania, including a second phase, in which Milana Meyer would use the full force of the Serpent Blade. In the end, Milana is defeated, Ella Windstorm is rescued, and McCoy teams up with the disenfranchised gang bosses, and Ella, to create an adventuring party. Cactus Mccoy's last adventure was 10 years ago on Not Doppler's website, which is now defunct. There is some small hope for the series, though. Tony and Matt of Flipline Studios stated in a Q&A on their website that they do have plans to continue the series eventually. It just hasn't fit into their schedule yet. Until then, we'll just have to keep the spiky cowboy in our minds and cherish those fond memories of the cowboy adventure. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe to the channel. And thank you so very much for watching. He had been hosting a party at his restaurant when it was invaded by an evil onion ring who transformed all of his pizzas into monsters and stuff.